Hey everybody, how we going? Today I just want to talk about why I'm done with Snapchat and really close to being done with dating as a whole. Um, so let me just get into it then. About 2 months ago, I broke up with my girlfriend. First ever one I had. I'm 20 years old. I didn't date throughout high school. I was a very awkward guy. I'm a bit of a late bloomer. Um, you know, I've only just been having my glow up, both physically and mentally, within the last few months, and yeah, dating has never been something that I've been good at. And after this relationship was finished, I decided to put myself back out there on Hinge and on Tinder, and like every other guy my age, we've all tried it. You get varying degrees of success. I'd find that on like Hinge is the worser one. You don't really get much on that app because people are a lot more conservative with their likes. And Tinder, you get more likes, but in my experience, it leads to fewer dates. But they're all just as bad as each other, right? Nobody likes these dating apps. Everybody hates them. Anyway, so after I was on about my second month and Hinge wasn't doing anything for me, and I get a bit of an unhealthy relationship with these apps anyway. Like I tend to check them quite a lot and become really obsessed with them and always refreshing them every few minutes, and it was just getting really bad. And I went to go delete my Hinge account and I saw that I had gotten a reply back from a girl who I thought was really, really good looking. Anyway, I decided to respond back to her message. She sent me a really nice message that made me laugh, and that instantly let me know that she was full of personality, right? And so, long story short, I ended up getting a Snapchat. Now, I don't do well with Snapchat, and I never have. I've never been the type of guy to add lots of people on my Snapchat and get a trillion snap score and all that shit. That's not how I operate. Um, I more so just have my closer friends on there, and whenever I have a female on my Snapchat, it doesn't usually go too well. And it's because when I have a girl on my Snapchat, it turns from an app I use to communicate with my friends to an app that I use. It turns into a dating app pretty much, and then all the problems with dating apps start happening again, like constantly closing and reopening my Snapchat, seeing if they've replied back, seeing how long it's been since they've been active, blah 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 blah. I know that's more of a me problem, but that's why I don't do Snapchat overall. Anyway, so for about the first few days we were talking and it was going really well, I decided to ask her out on a date, and she said yes, and we went on an amazing first date. Super super good. It was great. Took her out to a coffee house and got some ice cream and walked around in the park. It was really really good. Very very romantic, very classy. Like that's the type of stuff I like. I didn't get to do much of that with my ex girlfriend, so I've been craving to do something like that. So that was really good, and we had a great time, and we figured we would like to see each other again. So we had planned a date the following week to go bowling, and I was very nervous because a whole week having to communicate solely on Snapchat, that's bad news for me. I overthink a lot. If I get left undelivered for like fucking like an hour, I start overthinking. And I know this isn't really a Snapchat specific problem, but it's just something that I can't really handle. Anyway, um, the bowling date comes around and it goes super well. Go bowling, play two games, really enjoy each other's company. It was great. Um, and then we go get ice cream again, somewhere different this time, and just relax in my car, eating ice cream, and that was great, really good. Ended up dropping her back home, gave each other a hug, said it was really great. She'd like to see me again. Um, organized another date, whether it was meant to be today. And long story short, I got the text. I got the text. The whole, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I'm too busy. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. Like, I didn't know I had this stuff on. And after that, so that text was last night, and today, um, yeah, it's it's pretty much gone, right? I'm being ghosted. So yeah, that's the situation. Um, and that brings me on to my next point. Just what incentive is there to date anymore? For young men, especially for young women, dating, I assume, is a lot easier. You have your pick of the crop. You can pick whoever you want. As long as you're above a five as a woman, you can pretty much have your pick of most guys. But yeah, so me and this lady, we hit it off amazingly. We had so many common interests, so many common hobbies. We had very similar growing up situations. I was interested in her hobbies, she was interested in mine. Really enjoyed each other's company, and it just, after all that, doesn't even tell me tell me why, or doesn't even clue me in, as to why it won't work out for whatever reason or another. And that really gets to me because, like, I'm not a player. I'm not a I'm no Russell Brand, I'm a good-looking guy. I've got a pretty good physique. I'm a good-looking guy. I'm handsome, but it's all in the mindset. I grew up in a very traditional house. Um, I believe in being a gentleman, and paying for the bill. Don't you never split the bill. All that stuff. Open doors for her, treat her right. Yada yada yada. And it just it's very demotivating when it's hard to find women to begin with on dating apps, because they don't make money off you finding somebody, they make money off you being there forever. And to find someone to go on not one but two dates with them that went amazingly, like that went so good, just to end up back to square one the same way I have so many times before, you know, it just makes you think, is dating even worth it? And it's such a shame because I don't want a quick fling. I don't want a casual fling. I don't just want sex. The most joy I had in so long was taking her out on a date where all we did was hug at the end. Like, that just filled me with so much joy. It was exciting. This is the first time in a long time. This is the first time ever in my life that I've initiated the first date, and we've both enjoyed it immensely. You know, that was the most joy that I had. I couldn't give less of a shit that we didn't have sex in the end. In fact, it would have turned me off if she let me have sex in the first date. That's a definition of a red flag right there. But look, sex isn't the issue. There's plenty of ways I can get that. Like, if I'm really that desperate, I can pay for it. But that's not what I want. You know, I know I'm only 20 years old, and I'm not under the impression that I'll never find another woman. But I just want somebody who I can network with, somebody who I can get to know, somebody who I can spend my life with potentially. A best friend who I can text after work or text any day, like any time of the week, any time of the day, and we can just talk and be ourselves. Somebody who I can just text and be like, hey, do you want to come to so and so town with me and go look at the trash and treasure shop? Do you want to just go for a drive? Do you want to come around to my house and watch a movie? Just something like that is what I'm missing, man. I definitely took it for granted with my ex-girlfriend. I was in a lot worse a place back then. I was in a very bad situation with my mental health and physical health. And God, I wish I hadn't taken it for granted back then, because I didn't know what I had until I lost it. But this isn't a video for that. this is just a video to say that, like, look, if you're a young man, if you're a young man and you're looking to go on dating apps and date, you know, by all means give it a go, but I'm starting to doubt if it's really worth it or not. And I don't really know what there is to gain, because a lot of the time you'll find yourself giving and receiving either very little or receiving something, but with a click of your fingers it's gone and you'll never know why, because they'll never tell you. And it's just the most demotivating thing in the world, you know, especially if you are a young man who puts lots of value judging on how many women you can get, or you, how do I word this, you assess yourself and your success on the rate of how many women you can get or how good you are with women, right? That's an issue that I have in life right now. I'm going very successful. I've got I'm 20 years old. I've got a fully paid off car under my name. I have a pretty good job. I'm very lucky to be born without any disability. I'm getting stuff to fix my teeth. There's just so many things that I'm grateful for, you know, going to the gym, making something of myself, becoming a man. And it feels like the second I allow a woman into my life, I kind of forget how good I am and how good I have it. And I start placing all of my self-worth on her. And it is a difficult trap to get into, because you can be set up with a great routine and great things, and if you're like that, which I am, a woman can come and crash it all down and she won't even know she's doing it. Because if you feel like the only way that you judge yourself as being successful is having a woman, once you get one, what else is there to work for, you know? What else is there to work for? Hey, look, well, I'm kind of just rambling right now, but, and I know it's a me problem and a dating problem, you know. There's stuff that I need to figure out and soul search to find the answer to. But then there's also just stuff that society seems to normalize, like ghosting and other behaviors like that. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say today. Just want to kind of express my frustration with the dating economy, I guess you'd say. And just really pondering if it's all worth it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I mean, if you did, chuck a like and subscribe. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And yeah, peace.